Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I'm so excited every time I have the chance to record a video with my thoughts in it on Descendants and Zombies for you guys, because I know how much you love these franchises. And because I know how much you love these franchises, that's why I get so excited, because I get to talk with you guys on how I feel about the foreseeable future for Descendants and Zombies. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jonathan Clarke, and yes, I am the biggest Descendants and Zombies fan in the galaxy. I'll do you one better, because I think the universe is never big enough for all the fans of Descendants and Zombies, because we have 10 million people who are fans of Descendants and Zombies across all social media platforms, and 600,000 Descendants and Zombies fans watching YouTube every day. So because we have 600,000 fans watching YouTube every day because of Descendants and Zombies, we have to create Descendants and Zombies videos for each and every one of you, which is what I wish more YouTube creators would pride themselves on doing. Because you see, I believe there is a passion that goes with talking about Descendants and Zombies, and if you don't show up on your YouTube channel with that passion, then you can't really bring it to life for people who want to see it brought to life and show them the respect and the admiration it's deserved for the last decade. Because Descendants and Zombies has seen its fair share of critics and criticism, and I've just wanted to take that away, because I believe that people like Freya Skye and Matt Donnelly and Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson, regardless if they have something to do with the Descendants franchise presently or not, have offered so much to the franchise to bring it to life, with character traits separating each other, with a story being told that has captivated millions of people, and inspiring us that one can find true love and happiness even when they least expect it, because happiness does exist out there. It's a real thing for everybody. I think there should be more emphasis put on happiness and how one can find true love, which is why I really appreciated the Zombies franchise in particular for the emphasis on how one can find true love, even if it means falling in love with a zombie and staying in love with that person for the rest of your life, depending on what sacrifices you actually have to make. I think Zombies has really changed our lives for forever, and really changed our lives for the better. The profound impact that Zombies has had on my life is one that I know I will never ever forget, and I will always and forever cherish. In particular, I will never ever forget the contributions of people like Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson for their beautiful friendship, and how they really put a stronger emphasis on how you don't really need a whole lot of friends in this lifetime. All you really need are a few good ones. And that was a very valuable lesson I learned at a very young age, because my mom was a school teacher and she dealt with a lot of people throughout the 30 years she gave to the teaching system. Every day of her life she would stand in front of a classroom of 30 people and she would try to instill education in their minds and positive thoughts. And here I am nearly 30 years later trying to relay that same kind of message. I don't know how good of a job I'm doing, but I like to believe that I'm touching people's hearts with these videos. And I really do believe that the friendship between Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson is a personification of what I'm actually talking about, because I really do believe that they have been there for each other through everything, especially with how Dove Cameron had to endure so much pressure. She was under a lot of pressure at just 13 years old, auditioning for the show Liv and Maddie, where she gained worldwide popularity and eventually branched out into becoming the star of Descendants. It was a lead role. There was a lot of pressure because nobody really knew that much about the daughter of Maleficent. We had never heard tell of characters like Mal and Evie before being part of a franchise with Disney. And the cool thing about these characters were they had no backstory whatsoever. So Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson had a lot of pressure on their shoulders, bringing these characters to life and putting a stronger emphasis on what villains' kids were actually supposed to represent. And man, did they ever do. They brought these characters to life in a way that inspired millions of people to dress up for them as Halloween, to believe in themselves more, to become stronger, and to stand up for what they believe in, really stand up in the face of adversity. And here's the thing about the Descendants franchise. While High School Musical and Hannah Montana never really did offer us incentive to do these kind of things, Descendants really succeeded in doing that. It set out on a mission to inspire millions of people. And it really did, because I'm seeing some of the best people in the world become some of the best friends with each other and remain friends through being fans of Descendants and Zombies. The reality of life is it's Descendants, Zombies, or die now. And if you don't show up on YouTube and talk about Descendants and Zombies in the way it's meant to be talked about, then people are really going to let you have it and let you know about it, because they know everything there is to know about Descendants and Zombies. Some of you guys are the most smartest fans in the world, and you deserve more credit than you've ever been given. And that gives me incentive and great joy in creating these videos for fans of Descendants and Zombies. Tens of millions of people across all social media platforms, always having the never-ending conversation of what's next for Descendants and Zombies. The cool thing about this show is I don't know what's next for Descendants and Zombies. If I knew, I would tell you guys. So because I don't know what's next for Descendants and Zombies, that means I get to engage in the conversation with each and every one of you the same way. Perhaps a little bit more excited than other YouTube creators out there, because I really am excited about the future of Descendants and Zombies and all the conversation revolving around such things as what's next for Victor and Nova, what's inside of that vortex, what will the next chapter of Descendants detail. I really don't know, but it's going to make for an unpredictable time for all fans of Descendants and Zombies. And allow me to say this, there's never been a more exciting time to become a fan of Descendants and Zombies if you've never been introduced to this product before or this franchise. It will change your life. It's something a family should make a consistent habit of doing, watching the entire Descendants saga from beginning to end, because I really do believe there is a stronger emphasis on messages of power, of hope existing, and how one can find true love even when you least expect it. You know, Descendants really allowed me to put my life back together when I was going through some of the most difficult times of my life. My dad had just passed away. My mom had passed away with cancer years prior to that. So Descendants and Zombies really put a stronger emphasis on just how valuable life is and how time really is the most precious commodity, because well, time always runs out, and it's all about what we do with the time that we're allocated in this lifetime. We can spend the time with the ones we love more. We can go back in time to fix the mistakes that we've made or make them better, to make us forget about it. But I think that life presents us with so many challenges, but that doesn't mean that we can't overcome them with the power of friendship having a stronger emphasis put on it, which is why I really appreciate how Kyle Cantrell and Liam Baker did that for the Descendants franchise and the new spin on it. How Ruby Rose Turner exemplified how much further kindness can touch a person's heart and how much further kindness can go. Because I'm going to tell you guys that Ruby Rose Turner became my favorite character from the Descendants franchise because of how much of an emphasis she put on kindness and how much of a profound impact it can have on somebody's life. Because it really can. It can really touch a person's heart. It can make them feel better about their day, what they may be going through, because we don't know what happens behind closed doors with people we attend school with every day or go home with on the school bus or walk home with. But I think that the further we go with spreading kindness, the better this world will be and the more comfortable it will be of an atmosphere for everybody. I think Descendants and Zombies, because it was very friendly vibe, really out there vibe on times, very unpredictable moments in history. I think this is great. This is the greatest time of my life. Being able to sit behind this podcast microphone, talk about Descendants and Zombies for the profound impact it had on my heart. Man, did I ever love Dove Cameron's portrayal of the character Mel. I think this is what Dove Cameron really needed, because she was always wanting to feel stronger. She was always wanting to feel as if she was in a place of empowerment in her heart. And I think the Mel character really allowed her to bring this forth than ever before, because many of the roles that Dove Cameron had on Disney Channel, no matter if you're talking about Cloud9, no matter if you're talking about Liv and Maddie, they were standout roles as Kayla Morgan and Liv and Maddie Rooney. But the thing was, these characters didn't have a stronger emphasis on just how much powerful a person can be, how much further a person can go to achieve their dreams, until Mao showed up from out of nowhere and put that stronger emphasis on Dove Cameron's career and her life, and really allowed Dove Cameron to put her life into perspective, because the PR for the original Descendants was off the charts, and the PR for the new Descendants is absolutely mind-blowing. How appreciative these stars are to be in the moment with each and every one of you, how appreciative they were of the Worlds Collide Tour, how were really moments they were never ever going to forget, because we knew going into the Worlds Collide Tour this was going to be something special. But would it have ever happened if not for the contributions of Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson? I really don't know. I got my doubts. Because, you know, we can choose to criticize Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson for trying to leave their Disney past behind them. But I think that if we really sit back and put it into perspective and think about all the contributions they gave us as stars of Descendants and Zombies, they became some of the most revered characters of all time, and it shows the reasons why. Because they never quit on us. They always put a stronger emphasis on the value of friendship and how precious time actually is. Because if we had more time, the question forever and always has remained, what will we do with it? I love how Descendants and the Alice in Wonderland characters introduced the concept of time travel into the Descendants franchise, because of a very different way of looking at the Descendants franchise, because the original franchise focused on values and focused on finding your place in the world. And the new franchise not only focused on values and finding your new place in the world, it focused on time travel and just how important time is and the consequences of a person's actions and how much of a profound impact it can have on a person's heart. And Ruby Rose Turner did a really great job, you know, putting a stronger emphasis on that and really showing us how much further kindness can go in a person's lifetime. So I think that the cast of Descendants deserves a lot of credit for how far they've taken this franchise in light of all the criticism it's received. Because I do know that I read a lot of reviews on IMDb.com, RottenTomatoes.com, and a lot of people were saying the original Descendants trilogy, should have never been made. A lot of people were saying the same thing about The Rise of Red. It should have never been made. It should have been left at a trilogy. No more chapters of Descendants needed to be created. And I really stood up in the face of that, and I said, if people love the Descendants franchise as much as what they say they do, I think that it should be shown more respect. It should be given more of a chance. Because you can really run with a story like Descendants of Zombies, because you don't really have to have a movie ending at a trilogy, believing that we've seen a story told and completed. Because I've heard that time and time again. And I've read my fair share of reviews of Descendants of Zombies, being a fan of it, and I've been really feeling let down by all the criticism that the critics have thrown the way of your favorite Descendants of Zombies stars. When you have people like Clarke going to a gym every morning and getting in shape for her role of Red, and Dove Cameron hitting the weights like never before, then that deserves a profound amount of respect, because they want to bring these characters to life, and they really want to make these characters stand out for the powerful music, for their character traits, for what makes them different from every other VK kid on the franchise who have ever been a part of it. I really appreciate how these characters have really shown tremendous dedication, both on the stage and in front of the camera for the Descendants franchise, really bringing this to life. I really don't believe it was about an opportunity for people like Clarke more than I ever have. I really don't believe it was about standing out for them and achieving more worldwide exposure. It was about influencing each and every one of you. Because you take Hilary Duff years ago, Hilary Duff wanted more than anything in her lifetime to be an inspiration, to be a teen idol for people. So too did Miley Cyrus. And no matter how many times you argue who was the greatest teen idol of all time and present the argument of how Miley Cyrus has gone down in history now for being the youngest Disney legend of all time, so too can be included in that conversation your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars. So too can be included Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson. I remember watching a list of the top best friends in the history of Disney on YouTube about probably 3 months ago, and on the top of the list in the number 2 position was Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson. Now, while it can be argued they could be the number 1 friendship that Disney has ever seen derive from any franchise they've ever created, the argument was forever and always presented about, Ashley Tisdale and Vanessa Hudgens being the number 1 friendship. But I really do believe that this presents a convincing argument for how supportive Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson have been of each other. I go back to that song Space Between from Descendants 2, when Dove Cameron's character Mal was really trying to figure out her place in the world, and she didn't know if she was coming or going. And I remember the stronger emphasis on just how valuable the friendship between Mal and Evie actually was, and how fond Dove Cameron was of the collaboration of that duet. It was the first time ever that we had seen Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson be a part of something so spectacular, and a duet of meaning with the Descendants franchise, because by Descendants 2, the music undeniably had gotten better. The music stood out more for obvious reasons, for the emphasis of the music, for the message of the music. I loved it so much. And the thing that really got me about Descendants 2 was more people than ever before chose to criticize the franchise, saying they probably should have stopped at just one Descendants movie and never gave it a chance. But if we never gave it a chance, would have Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson gone on to become so iconic as what they did? I really don't think so. Would they have had the opportunity to attend more red carpet premieres and fashion shows like Dove Cameron did? I remember when Descendants had first premiered, I believe it was Descendants 2 actually, and Dove Cameron was on a red carpet premiere, a fashion show. I don't think she would have ever been given that opportunity if not for the opportunity that Descendants had presented her with, because Dove Cameron was able to have so much creative control over her character and really bring this character to life in a way that no other character that she had ever had the chance to portray had been able to be brought forth. And because of how Mal really stood out as part of the Descendants franchise, she will go down in history for being one of the most revered characters of all time. When the conversation ascends about who is your favorite Descendants character of all time, Mal is always number 1. Mal always comes out on top, because Mal was very different. Mal wanted to be different. Mal wanted to achieve something far greater than Maleficent ever wanted her to become. And she had that opportunity. She may have had to fall in love with the beast to realize her true potential and her true calling, but she did. And she found her place in Ordon as the princess and the true love of the son of the beast and Belle Ben. It was great. It was a beautiful story. I have nothing negative to say about Descendants of Zombies. I'm just full of passion and pride for Descendants of Zombies, and I wish more YouTube creators would feel the same way and come to the same realization that I have when talking about Descendants of Zombies, because never enough good things can be said about your favorite characters. No matter if you're talking about Dove Cameron, Sofia Carson, there will always be the argument of who is the far more superior character, Dove Cameron or Sofia Carson. When it comes to passion and dedication, I really do believe that Sofia Carson's character presents a more convincing argument perhaps than ever before, or any other Descendants character could have ever presented. Because we'll always hear about how Dove Cameron is everybody's favorite Descendants character. Everybody is her go-to. But I think that Red showed up from out of nowhere after Descendants had been taken away from us for a 5-year hiatus, taking a 5-year hiatus break. And then from out of nowhere, here comes Kylie Cantrell, someone who we gotten to know on shows like Gabby Dern and the Unsittables, Ravensholm, Berserk, High School Musical, the series on Disney Plus, which was getting great reviews, mind you. But I think that Kylie Cantrell really changed everybody's perspective on Descendants and got people more excited about what Descendants was going to mean to so many wonderful people from so many walks of life, presenting a new cultural diversity for Descendants of Zombies. And we saw that more evident than ever before at the Worlds Collide Tour, when thousands of people came out for every venue and sold out every venue across the United States, making Descendants of Zombies one of the most revered concert experiences of all time. And that takes into consideration every concert experience they've done over the last 30 years, and I've been a part of virtually every single one of them, from the Jonas Brothers in Hannah Montana back in 2008, to the Lion King, to Aladdin, to whatever Disney produced. Beauty and the Beast is another one I'm thinking of. You can present any argument as to what is the most revered concert celebration of all time, but I think Descendants of Zombies will always be the #1 concert experience of all time and the most revered Disney Channel franchise in history. I know High School Musical may hold the record of 17.5 million viewership, but I think Descendants, with a 9.8 million rating viewership on the night of its premiere, Descendants 2, back in 2017. I remember all the crossover opportunities years ago that Descendants 2 was presented with the Hallmark Channel and what have you. I believe on the night of Descendants 2's premiere, the Hallmark Channel in the United States did a crossover promotion opportunity with Disney, and other networks joined in because they all wanted to be a part of the magic and the emphasis of Descendants and Zombies, and just how powerful of a franchise that we knew by 2017 it had become, and so much more of a franchise it still had to amount to. And it's really still garnering attention, and it's still earning respect, but it doesn't mean that it can't get there, because you guys have shown Descendants of Zombies a profound amount of respect, and you've really shown dedication to this franchise with how much you appreciate the fashion, how much you appreciate the music, how much you know the songs word for word, how you record videos yourself to upload to your YouTube channels dancing to your favorite Descendants songs. The soundtracks have become so revered. I know the soundtracks may only have about 12 songs on each soundtrack. I know the Rise of Red soundtrack had probably 8 songs. But the soundtrack became so revered for its powerful message and how it could inspire millions of people. I mean, I don't know a person out there who hasn't watched a Descendants movie that came away with it without having a favorite song. I think that everybody had a favorite song from the soundtrack, no matter what movie you were a fan of. For me, I was always a fan of Descendants 2. I have to be honest with each and every one of you. Descendants 2 was my favorite movie for obvious reasons. The music got better, the story was deeper, more characters found their way and saw their introduction into the franchise than ever before, and it presented the opportunity to create more storylines than I had ever seen for a Descendants franchise ever in history. And then by Descendants 3, when we reached the conclusion of the story and believed that it was all over with, I was really sad, to be honest with you guys, because just closing the barrier is only one way of looking at it. I think there were more characters yet to see their introduction into the franchise, and after a 5-year hiatus, that's why I was so excited for Descendants' return. And it was a triumphant return, because Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker showed up with a friendship that was both seen on the set of Descendants and behind the camera too, because they helped each other out of every situation they were faced with in their personal lives, and they were always there for each other. So they had a mutual understanding and appreciation for Descendants, how it meant so much to so many lives and how it had changed lives for forever. So they wanted to make it special for everybody. And then the Worlds Collide Tour happens about 2 years after the success of The Rise of Red was seen, and now Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland is upcoming in 2026. And the summer of 2026 is going to be huge for this YouTube channel, because I will create more Descendants of Zombies videos than ever before as we edge ever closer also to the premiere of Zombies 5. And I know Zombies 5 feels like forever away. There's a lot of doubt if it's ever going to happen, but it is going to happen because they wouldn't have passed the torch. That's what they're setting up for Freya Sky and Malachi Barton to become something absolutely fabulous and extraordinary and very special for the Disney franchise, because I think that Descendants and Zombies are franchises that stand alone. There is no argument that can be presented, or at least from how I choose to look at it, about, what franchise is the most revered. What can really compete with Descendants and Zombies, because there is nothing that can compete with Descendants of Zombies. You can present the argument of High School Musical and Hannah Montana as much and as often as you want, because I know a lot of people do it, saying they were fans more of High School Musical and Hannah Montana than they ever were of Descendants of Zombies. But that's really just us being convinced that, Descendants of Zombies isn't living up to a certain criteria. I think that if we didn't buy into what the critics were saying, then that would shut down their hopes and dreams of doing what they want to do and doing what they set out to do, and that is criticize Descendants of Zombies and everything we believed in for the last decade. Because this last decade has been a decade that I will never ever forget. The lineage, the legacy of your favorite Descendants of Zombies stars can never have enough good things said about it. And I've just wanted to be a part of it from the very beginning. Years ago I had a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff getting in the way, so I wasn't here from the very beginning of Descendants of Zombies. But I have never felt more honored to be able to profile and backtrack every legendary moment that we've seen in the Descendants franchise. From the very unbelievable introduction of the VK kids and how much they meant to a franchise that really exploded and was taken off the ground because of songs like Rotten to the Core and Chillin' Like a Villain, to now powerful songs like Red and Life is Sweeter When You Are. I will never forget seeing the introduction of over 13 characters being featured in the Life is Sweeter When You Are music video, and how revered of a song that actually became, because of the stronger emphasis of how much kindness can really touch a heart because of Ruby Rose Turner. And don't get me started this morning on how much I miss Ruby, because I have forever and always missed Ruby being a part of the Descendants franchise. And I don't know how they, got away or how they felt about producing Descendants by Epic Wonderland without Ruby Rose Turner, because there was just something about Ruby's voice being on the soundtrack and just portraying that character, Bridget, and how she brought her to life with all the character traits and making her so unique from everybody else that we saw become a part of the Descendants franchise, from Dove Cameron and Sofia Carson's characters, Mal and Evie. It was truly unbelievable for me, and I never felt so honored to be a part of a franchise that had meant so much to my heart and became such a revered part of my life. There is nothing else I would rather be talking about on YouTube this morning than Descendants of Zombies. I have a commentary ready to go on Sabrina Carpenter and the portrayal of the Rapunzel character in the live-action Tangled. That will be uploaded later on today. But I'm presenting that argument because I really do believe that Ruby Rose Turner deserves more of a chance to portray the character of Rapunzel, because that's something she wanted to do her entire life. And I want Ruby to know that I fully support her portraying the live-action Rapunzel for the live-action Tangled more than I ever have supported anybody playing a live-action role. Because you take into consideration Emma Watson's portrayal of Belle, it was fabulously done. Lily May's portrayal of Cinderella in 2015, that was fabulously done. So if Ruby's feeling confident to portray the live-action Rapunzel, I don't know why Disney won't let her follow through with that and give her a chance. Why is the conversation having to revolve around Sabrina Carpenter all the time? I think it's revolving around Sabrina Carpenter a little bit too much, and I really do believe that we can do something about that as fans of Descendants of Zombies. So I will upload that commentary later on today about Sabrina Carpenter playing Rapunzel for the live-action Tangled, because reportedly the live-action Tangled has picked up production again after Snow White's recent flop in the box office, and I can see why Disney felt the way they did about following through with a live-action Tangled remake, because of how Snow White, fared in the box office. It was a disaster for them. So I will upload that commentary today. I've got a lot of conversation to go through with Descendants of Zombies with you guys. I'm always excited to upload videos about Descendants of Zombies. I can never seem to get enough of it, because I think that never enough respect can be shown to your favorite stars. Never enough, iconic moments can happen for Descendants of Zombies fans, because for the last 10 years, we really felt as if we were a part of something special. Years ago when Hannah Montana was at the heights of its popularity, it really became something unprecedented for Disney. And Disney really ran with it for 6.5 years, and they made the most of every opportunity and every chance that Hannah Montana presented them with, because they ran with it and they believed in the potential of Miley Cyrus. And there is never an interview where Miley Cyrus never fails to mention the success of Hannah Montana and talk about the Hannah Montana story. So I'm hoping that, 15 years from now, people like Clarke and Charles and Dove Cameron will still talk about Descendants. They'll still be singing Descendants songs and still want to come back for Hannah Montana reunions. Because as long as reunions for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Seinfeld and Good Luck Charlie happen for the Disney company, I think that reunions can happen and be discussed for Descendants of Zombies for just a little while longer, because their contributions are never ever going to be forgotten. This is a franchise that has touched so many hearts for so many obvious reasons, for its powerful music, its powerful script, and I just feel as if it deserves to be honored and shown the respect more than it ever has. A decade has passed, but a decade that created so many wonderful moments and created some of the most beautiful friendships of all time. Some of the most beautiful friendships of all time have happened because of Descendants and Zombies, which is why I feel as if we can never say enough good things about it or show it enough praise and respect that it deserves. Guys, thank you so much for all the love and support you have shown this YouTube channel. My heart goes out to everybody who is a Descendants and Zombies fan. This YouTube channel will forever and always be here out of support and love for your favorite stars of the franchise and the franchises you've known and loved, becoming so beloved by millions of people from all walks of life, from all cultural diversities. That's amazing. Descendants and Zombies, touching our hearts and changing our lives forever and always. Guys, thank you so much. I'm your host, Jonathan Clarke. I will be back later on this afternoon with a new podcast for you guys, talking about everything having to do with Sabrina Carpenter, Rapunzel, and the live-action Tangled. Everything Descendants and Zombies, both retro and this new vibe for Descendants Vibe Wicked Wonderland, happening in July 2026. The summer of 2026 is going to be huge, as too will the month of October. We've got the countdown to Halloween happening, the birthdays of Ruby Rose Turner and Freya Sky, Nova, and of course Bridget. We're going to be celebrating their birthdays. Of course, Ruby's going to be turning 20. Freya Sky is going to be turning 16. That's going to be big for Freya. I will cover all of that for you coming up this month in October. It's going to be a huge month, so if you have not subscribed, be sure to do that. Keep kindness in your heart, because kindness really does go a long way in this world.